I get a lot of great video project ideas from those of you leaving comments, and I had at least 400 people ask me to test RC racing fuel in a small engine. What exactly will happen to a small engine with the RC racing fuel? This is a form of leaded fuel that has a lot of methanol in it. And a lot of folks want to know, will the engine even run? If it does run, is it going to run hot? Is it going to have more power, less power? What exactly is going to happen to an engine on the RC racing fuel? Well, this is a bit of a mystery to me. I've looked at the MSDS and there's not a lot of information about the ingredients in this fuel. But what I do know is we have a couple of quarts to work with and we have a small engine. So let's get this project underway. The MSDS is not very specific regarding what's in the RC racing fuel. It just says complex combination of hydrocarbons, 99.9%, and then less than 0.02% motor fuel anti-knock compound. Some other interesting information inside the MSDS on this RC racing fuel is the flash point is 22 degrees Celsius or 71.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Also notice the vapor pressure is less than 1137 millimeters of mercury. So we're going to test to see if this engine will also run off of a vapor. So I just want to point out this is a 30% mix of this racing fuel. I know they also have other strengths that include maybe 15 or 20%, maybe even more of a stronger version than this. So I always like to mix things before I add them, even if it doesn't have it on the instructions, just in case there's been some settling. So I'm going to mix this up real good. Now I've added a see-through fuel tank to this engine just so we can actually watch what I'm pouring into the tank and just sort of observe it as it's being used up. Just curious about what this stuff will do and how it looks. So I'll go ahead and open this up. Now this cap I've added to the see-through fuel tank does have a couple of holes, so it will be vented. Okay, so I wasn't able to get this engine to run off of just the RC fuel without a little bit of help. It was not getting enough fuel, and I think part of it is this RC fuel has 9% oil in it. So what I'm going to do is put together sort of a little choke. So I want to measure the engine performance using the RC fuel, but I don't have any way to measure horsepower. But what I can do is disconnect the kill switch on the engine brake system and use the engine brake to cause some drag on this flywheel. The way this works is there's on the handlebar of the lawnmower, there's a lever. When it's released, it closes in and begins to drag on this flywheel, causing a lot of resistance. So this should do a pretty good job. So I was looking at the MSDS, and this stuff just doesn't turn into a vapor very easily, so it's not going to run on vapors as it's set up. So I'm going to have to add some gasoline. Gasoline is very volatile. It turns into vapors very quickly. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is add a quart, so it'll be 50% racing fuel and 50% unleaded fuel. Running an engine on nothing but RC fuel. That's a great idea. I just want to thank the 400 to 500 people that suggested I do this video. It was a great one. The engine actually worked. It actually worked. It actually ran on the RC fuel. I did have to really create a pretty powerful choke in order to get enough fuel into the engine to get it running. Also, the engine that runs on vapors needed a 50% gas, 50% RC fuel mix to get it to run. But once it was running, it ran really well. Also, I didn't see very much buildup inside this engine as a result of using the RC fuel, even though it had a lot of smoke. And I think that's because RC fuel happens to have 9% oil, so it's a very thick type product. Just as a reminder, I'm not sponsored by the maker of this product or any other company, and I plan to keep it that way. I enjoy having the independence and the freedom to do positive as well as negative reviews without any sort of politics or pressure from a company to produce results that just haven't been earned. But hey, I'm looking for more video project ideas. I've got a list, and I have to order a lot of supplies in advance in order to be ready to create these videos. But anyway, in closing, I hope you'll like, subscribe, and share. If there's something I can do better, please leave a comment on that. Just want to say thank you very much for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.